Carolina Panthers. Coming off of a rough season, Bryce Young gets benched. Didn't have the necessary best start that you would want. Progressed a little bit after the benching, came back and looked pretty strong to close out the season. I know Coach was really happy to see him put up some decent stats toward the end of the year, put up a 24-point game, put up a 27-point game. So my big first question to you, Coach, since you are in the Panthers country, do you think that Bryce Young will have any fantasy value in redraft leagues if we're just starting 12, or is he a guy we could possibly look at streaming?
Man, I really do. I really think at minimum you stream Bryce Young, but the hype has been, the talk has been really good on Bryce Young through camp. He looked solid in his preseason, his first game in his preseason. I know he had very limited time there, but Canales seems really confident in Bryce Young going into his second year working with him. I see his ADP is like 25. Like, he's going to outperform that, I think. Like, I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback, but I sure wouldn't mind having him as my second quarterback in Superflex League for sure.
Yeah. Tyler, what's your thoughts on Bryce Young this upcoming season?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Coach there. I mean, we get to these points where, your second quarterback, you obviously want as many elite ones as you can get, but your second quarterback, they kind of fall into tiers later on. And I really think Bryce is probably in a tier above where he's being drafted right now. There's a lot of streamers there that you could probably take a shot on and just kind of play the matchups. I mean, this is a weak division. It's not something that I'm super scared of. So if it's a week, where the Panthers are going to play the Saints or something like that, I would take a shot on it. It really depends on the matchups that you get. But if you tell me that Bryce Young improves again this year and another year of the Canales offense, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Something that's interesting about Bryce Young is at the end of the season, his fantasy draft hype got higher and higher. People talked about Bryce Young and everybody was really feeling it. And now all of a sudden he's plummeted again. So there's a lot of value there again for Bryce Young. When 3 or 4 months ago, I would have thought it had been a little harder to get him. Now you can just pretty much get him if you want him.
Yeah. I mean, you're right there with the dip, Coach. I mean, he's someone where after we saw the benching, his value went. I just pulled up Keep Trade Cut just because I was curious. That's one where I know we can look at a year. He went from being right around a first to just plummeted. In September of 24, he was going for a second, sometimes a third. And then, now he's up over his value at the start of last season. So, the value is there. The quarterbacks have the opportunity. Canales kind of rebuilt that offense, has stabilized it a little bit. And I think a lot of it has to do with what this offense can do in the run game. And I think let's transition to there because I know, Coach, you're a big Chuba Hubbard believer. I'm a Chuba Hubbard believer. Tyler, I believe you are as well. He's coming off a new contract, a fantastic 2024 season where he finishes the RB15 on the year. They bring in Rico Dowdle. We have a question, guys. What are we going to do about this backfield? I know, Coach, you've been talking about it a little bit, so I'll let you go first. But I do think that Chuba's value is so great right now. It's such a great buy for me. I think he's being underdrafted in redraft. I think that in Dynasty, he's being sold too cheap. He is someone that I want on my team. If I'm an RB needy team, go and get him.
Yeah, man. He's a guy. I have all eyes on Chuba Hubbard. Now, first of all, that offensive line is daggum good, man. They can run the football. He showed that down the stretch last year in the second half of the season. His ADP currently is 18. I really feel confident that he's anywhere between 12 to 15 running back. And he's also a guy that could boom and finish in the top 10 as well behind that offensive line. He's a guy you need to keep your eye on. You can steal him. He feels like a guy that could be a league winner.
Yeah, Tyler?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, he's your perfect running back too for your roster. And I mean, if he continues the trend from last year, I mean, he could even, like Coach said, work his way into an RB1. The one thing that obviously the reason why we're talking about him as an underdog is we don't anticipate the Panthers being the best team, overall so scoring opportunities may dip a little bit, but if you're explosive enough, if you get all the goal line touches that we project him to have, you're probably going to get most of those touchdowns anyway. So I think he's at a really good value spot in the draft. I think obviously if you start your draft and you go, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, and you wait a few rounds and you get Chuba later, I can't fault you for that at all.
Yeah, we
Well,
see Pete. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I was going to address this very thing.
Yeah.
Pete's 77% snap share. Now, there's a world where he doesn't get a 77% snap share again, right? That it dips a little bit. There is that world.
Very real.
I get it. But now this offense is flat out going to be better. In my opinion, it's going to, without a doubt, be better than it was last year. So there's going to be more opportunities for touchdowns coming Chuba's way to make up for any dip in snap share that Rico Dowdle may take at all.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Rico, so let's start talking about that a little bit. Someone that the three of us are very familiar with. Coming over from Dallas last year, where he finished as the RB22, had 235 attempts with over 1,000 yards. He had almost 1,100, only 2 touchdowns on the year. Guys, I have to pose the question, will he shark any carries from Chuba? Coach, you're saying no, you don't expect that too much. And I think a lot of that has to do with the contract that Chuba signed. It's a big-time deal. There's a lot of money there. What's the deal for Rico? I think, Coach, you said earlier it was only $2 million.
Like 2.5.
Yeah, it's not the biggest deal in the world. So I do think that he's going to be on the field. I think it's someone that they can trust. I think he's more likely than not going to be just a handcuff for the season. So if you're in a redraft league that has extra spots and you want to have Chuba's handcuff, okay, I don't really think that's necessary. If we're talking dynasty, it's probably something that you're just going to throw a cheap throw at. I mean, if you just want to secure the Panthers' backfield, because coaches are wrong. That offensive line is good, and they're well paid too. It's one of the most expensive offensive lines in all of football, if not the most expensive. Coach, if you remember that, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's top 3. I do know that. But the thing about Rico is he's going to have an impact just a little bit. Like he's going to be a complimentary guy at best. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. Like if you take Rico on your team, you got to know that you're probably not going to play him unless Chuba Hubbard gets injured.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting like Coach said, it's an injury play. At most, he's getting third down work, right? Like I think he had some good receiving flashes maybe in the preseason game they had last week. I did go back and look. His contract was a 1-year, $6.25 million deal is what he ended up getting, which comparative to Chuba is nothing. So for me, I'm not really worried about it. I think, like I said, third down role might suit him pretty well. But even still, I think when the goal line comes, I think it's going to be Chuba, and I'm pounding Chuba's price all day.
Yeah. Well, we got 2 questions here in the chat, actually 3. So we're going to hit the super chat first. We appreciate Ace of Spade for the super chat. Question is, absolutely, Mike Evans or DJ Moore full PPR this year? Coach, I'm going to kick it to you first. You are a resident Bears fan, so it feels like you should be the guy to answer this question.
Woo! I think DJ Moore. Like I think Mike Evans is going to take a little bit of a step back. I do see some concern with DJ Moore with Rome Odunze taking a little bit more there away from DJ Moore, but DJ is just a better all-around playmaker. Mike Evans is a really good, solid wide receiver. I just think as a whole, DJ Moore is a guy still more in his prime. I feel a little better about DJ Moore.
This is that situation where we're just constantly waiting for the wheels to fall off for Mike Evans. Like, when is it going to happen? We've seen this with the older wide receivers. Devontae Adams is another one. Finished as wide receiver 9 last year. Only played 14 games. So can he do it again? Yeah, he can. I mean, 110 targets, 74 receptions, 11 touchdowns. That's been Mike Evans' key. Every single year he has that top 10, top 5 finish. It's a big touchdown year. So if he can get those, that's going to be great for that Bucs offense. I'm kind of with Coach. I kind of expect a regression. He looks slower. I don't think he's the same player. It's tough because I am a DJ Moore critic, and I don't have a lot of conviction with it, but I'm with Coach. I think I'm going to go with DJ Moore. I think this Bears offense finally comes back to life, and for the first time ever, they'll have a 4,000-yard passer.
Woo! No, yeah, you just jinxed it. You jinxed it. Thanks.
You're welcome. You don't know what that's like. I do, though.
I don't.
I tend to agree with you guys. I mean, Mike Evans, since 2020, he's averaged somewhere in like the 75-ish reception range every year. I think last year he had 74 is what I just looked at. If you look at DJ Moore, I mean, yes, he does have the extra target competition in Odunze and Burden coming in. But you're also talking about he's been the wide receiver 1. I mean, the last 2 years on the Bears, he's had 96 receptions and 98 receptions. So at this point, like, Evans is probably the more explosive play, Whereas I think DJ Moore is probably more of the target heavy play. So full PPR, I would take DJ Moore. I think he's just a safer play there.
Yeah, I mean they're both players that can produce, but they're in different ways. Like DJ Moore has never been a touchdown guy. Most he's ever had is 8, and that was 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, excuse me. But Mike Evans is the opposite. We always see him score touchdowns. Coach, I'm curious if you still have the ADP pulled up. Can you figure out what the difference is between these two players? Which one of them's cheaper? Because that would probably factor into my analysis too. Of if I can get Mike Evans maybe around cheaper, I would like that. Pete says here that average depth of target for Evans has gone down each of the last few years, which is concerning. He prefers Evans. I get it. Tyler, you mentioned the target competition between, DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. It's certainly something, but we also have to consider that the target competition in Tampa Bay is still there. I mean, Ibuka's coming into town. He's looked good in camp. We still have Mike Evans. Chris Godwin should be back at some point in time. McMillan's going to be there. K. Dotton's going to be there, not to mention the hero himself, Bucky Irving, is going to continue to get some carries and get some opportunities. I have to throw that plug in there. But, Coach, did you figure out anything on the ADP?
Yeah, Mike Evans is going at wide receiver 16. DJ Moore's going wide receiver 20. A little more value with DJ Moore.
Yeah, I like that.
It's about 10 spots in difference, too. Mike Evans is 38.5 on ADP and Sleeper. And then DJ Moore is 48.2. So right at 10 slots.
There has been, I see Steve mentions it here, and he sent us a comment here about DJ Moore. This has been happening in camp a lot. DJ Moore's been in the backfield quite a bit.
Wow.
Not just for trick plays. Like they've had all kinds of gadget plays with him getting football out of the backfield. Like I do think Ben Johnson plans on using him in a variety of ways.
Yeah, I think so. But I appreciate the super chat, Ace of Spade. We all do here, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Let's get back to the Panthers guys for just a little bit, and let's jump back to William's question here. It says, bigger sleeper, Chuba Hubbard or Isaiah Pacheco? My opinion, I'm going to go Chuba. I think that the Kansas City backfield is going to continue to be murky. I think everyone's going to have their opportunities and their chances. I do think Pacheco bounced back. I think a lot of last year just had to do with his health. He came back, didn't look the same. They kind of forced it, and, it never really worked out. But I think he'll be better this year. Coach, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, Pacheco's going at 26. Running back 26, so there's definitely some value there if you feel like his bounce back is great enough. Like I don't blame you for that. He definitely looked a lot better 2 years ago, so I get it, or 3 years ago, I guess. So I would still take Chuba personally over Pacheco just because it feels a little safer.
Tyler?
Yeah, I agree. I think people do sleep on Pacheco, and obviously he's part of a great offense with the Chiefs there. But honestly, I mean, people don't seem to talk about Chuba at all. At least I feel like I've heard Pacheco's name mentioned, and I feel like people skip over Chuba all the time just because he's on the Panthers, and they're like, none of the Panthers can produce for fantasy. So,
yeah. And we see here Cody chimes in, sleeper ADP. Pacheco's a little bit cheaper, so thank you for that, Cody. We appreciate you throwing out those ADPs for us. But let's move on to the Panthers wide receiver room, guys. And, Pete had a question in here too. Does Tet and Bryce Young having the connection in the preseason game provide more confidence? I mean, I think it looks good. I mean, it's better. What I liked more than anything was really the slant that was thrown in the end zone that they missed on, because it looked like Bryce had that timing just straight down and Tet just wasn't ready. So that was nice to see Bryce just kind of sling it in there, just try and put it in the pocket. Coach is laughing at me. What is it?
Did you notice that, Tyler? He took a shot at Tet. See that? Of course he did.
Yeah. It wasn't a shot. It was the truth. He wasn't ready. He wasn't. But at the same time,
he wasn't. And he even acknowledged it. That was the thing. You said it perfectly. Yeah. Like Bryce was on that as soon as he broke. That ball was there, and Tet did not expect that at all.
Yep, that was a good ball.
But, I mean, I think we all know what Tet is, so I don't want to spend too much time. He's going to be drafted fairly high. I'm probably not going to draft him as high as he's going, but let's talk about these other wide receivers. Coach, let's talk about your boy Coker. I know you love him in Dynasty. He's an interesting play. Can he get on the field? Does he have any opportunities? I don't think he's going to be anything in redraft, but in Dynasty, it's at least interesting.
Oh, 100%. And I am so frustrated with his current situation. I mean, he's clearly not a starter. Every time he goes out there, he plays like their best wide receiver. I do not understand it. It drives me batty, man. Like he made multiple plays the other night when he came in the game. He's clearly playing behind T-Mac, Thielen, and Leggett. Like Coker is better than Leggett and Thielen. Like find a role for this guy. Like that's driving me crazy. Dynasty, I 100% want him on my roster.
Yeah, and it's a cheap flyer you can go get right now. Tyler, I know you were talking about it earlier off stream. Let's talk about Adam Thielen. What's your thoughts there? Is there any fantasy value in redraft or in dynasty if you're competing team?
For me, I'm really targeting him. If I'm gonna grab him, I would grab him in redraft. The thing with it is if you have him in dynasty, you're not gonna be able to get rid of him. I mean, he's gonna at least produce some for you. For me, I think probably I would target him in redraft and target somebody like Coker or even Jimmy Horn, who's made some waves in the preseason and training camp. As far as dynasty, I know we sit here and we say don't focus on age all the time, but when you're up at Adam Thielen's age and your dynasty value is already shot, you might as well take an upside swing on one of these younger guys that maybe they play their way in and they play over him. And so for me, if I'm taking Thielen, it's definitely in redraft this year.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think the Panthers wide receiver room, there's going to be some value. I think Bryce Young, how high can he take these wide receivers? A little bit capped. I see. I know ATL is what Hoff and Pete call the resident troll. I think that Chris might be the troll for me. For whatever reason, we always have to come back to Travis Hunter. And Chris, we're going to have to get on the stream and do it because Travis Hunter's the man. You're just not ready to admit it. The wide receiver one. But, I mean, I get it. If you like Tet over him, it's fine. Pete's the same way. You guys can be wrong together. It is what it is. Let's do a pizza bet. I do think that the tight end situation in Carolina, I don't know if there's much to talk about it. Jatavian Sanders, coach. I know you kind of like him a little bit. I'm not going to spend any time on it. I'm not sure it's worth the pickup in really anything. If I had him in Dynasty, it's just kind of a hope and a prayer.
Yeah, I mean, somebody has to play tight end, right? I mean, that's kind of where it's at. He's the starting tight end on an NFL football team. Like, there's a little bit of value there. I mean, he was a rookie last year. When I was at training camp last year, he flashed and showed some good, nice athleticism. Panthers aren't allowing fans at training camp this year because they're doing a lot of construction. So that's been a pain. But still, maybe. I'll take a